Wait, people are looking at you right now, dog.
Huh?
People are looking at you right now.
I know. People always look at me.
Hey, chill.
I'm not used to seeing a young boy this tall, man.
Yeah, sure.
Today's guest is actually very special to me. I grew up watching him. He's a comedian, director, producer, actor, one of the original Latin Kings of comedy. Oh, and he was also a professional boxer at one point, bro. He'll fuck you up. We actually almost got into a little altercation outside, but we worked it out. We hugged, we kissed. And that's what the N-word's about. Kissing and hugging and realizing that we're all the same, and we all deserve love, and we're all capable of giving love. Okay? And kissing. Make some noise for Joey Medina!
Yeah, it's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And you know how shit is, bro. Like, just things keep happening, and then priorities, you know, it gets from the second priority to the third to the fourth, and then finally, right now, like, you know, it's a good time, we're in a good space, and I'm like, let's just do it. Right. Especially now that there's no shows and everything's just closed down. Yeah.
No, dude, it's fucking horrible, man.
Yeah.
So what else? How about comedy or anything else? Or?
So I would do, you know, like any other comedian, I would do stand-up like every weekend, and then since that stopped, I think since March 13th, where the pandemic or quarantine officially started, I've only done one show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one show. And it was really fun, but just one show in like, what, almost a year? It's tough. I feel like I haven't like worked out. I feel like, you know that feeling when you drink like 4 sodas in a row? You just feel sick and you're just like, that's how I feel. Like, I feel like I haven't let anything out. And I'm like, I need to let my creativity out somehow. Like, let my jokes out somehow, you know? And I think this is the perfect
No, it is, man. And it's just being creative. And I mean, have you been in production before, or is it?
I have, yeah.
Okay,
so I have. So this,
and
I don't want to do any like, you know, basic like, you know, sit on one table, one camera angle, and then just talk for 3.5 hours. Like, you know, that's why I put together such a tremendous team, you know, like angles, lighting.
I see it, and I'm noticing all the lights you have, you know?
Yeah, and then like in about 15, 20 minutes, we're gonna move it to the living room, and, you know, it's gonna be like a completely different conversation, you know what I mean? So, yeah, and you know, we just take it, like I told the team, like, it's just like audibles, you know, you just have to switch up, you have to adapt. Like
of course, you always have to. You always
know?
have to do that. Always have to do that. And you know, back to filmmaking is like that's what you have to do because the most important thing for any production is always pre-prep because you have your shit. But then when you get there, it's gonna be fucked up. Yeah. And it's not gonna work out the way you want. Sometimes it will. Yeah. And when it does, it's scary. You're like, holy shit, everything's working fine. Like, why is it doing that?
Something big's gonna happen.
Something's gonna break. Somebody's gonna forget a battery. You know. Someone was gonna kick. I did a gig one time. Well, I shot something one time. We were shooting a trailer for a movie, and so the guy could raise money for the movie. So we decided to just shoot a trailer. So we shot all the way in Apple Valley, man. And there's one place we went into. There was like one shitty no trespassing sign, spray painted. But I'm like, it's a big, like where people fly fake model planes. So it's a big dirt area. And I'm like, but they had these little huts that I wanted. So I'm like, they'll never know. And so we set up everything. We had a bunch of people, everything. All of a sudden somebody shows up with a fucking van. This black dude, like, dude, you get out of here. I'm gonna call the sheriff. I'm like, oh. So I invented some lie and story about I was shooting a thing for my dad who's dying. Like, I don't know where this shit came out of. And he felt sorry for me, dude. And I even originally gave him $200.
Really?
And I go, here, man, just, and then he turned away and then he called me over and he gave me the money back. And And I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
So you're kind of not like an asshole. Like, you know, you realize, like, he's a nice guy.
So then he goes finishing and move on. I'm like, dude, absolutely. I'm like,
yeah.
But then I felt good. I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. It's like now it's like one less worry. Like now you're kind of free to explore what you gotta do.
But, you know, the thing is, you have to have a plan, especially when you're shooting guerrilla, like, which a lot of most filmmakers do. It's like, you have to figure out, okay, this doesn't work, where else can I do it? I shot a movie once, and a feature, and I had this scene in a restaurant, and the day before, the guy calls me up, goes, hey man, I decided not to. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that happened just today, you know, today, it's just, we were confronted with 2-3 things that we had to, you know, adapt and, you know, Audible and everything, and just like, you know, luckily, like, we're all here and stuff. I remember, when I was 20, actually, I shot a proof of concept for Netflix. So I'm a graduate from the LA Film School, and one of the professors hooked me up with an executive at Netflix, and I shot it. I was like, there was like 30 people working on set. It was just a one-day shoot, and it was just one of those things where like it was just problem, solution, solution, and that's when I kind of learned that like it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to get angry, sad, upset, you know, vengeful when stuff like that happens, but the best thing is just, what's the solution? Like, what's the solution? That's the, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing in filmmaking. You have no choice. You're on a time limit. You have everything. It's like, enough of bullshit. It can't work. How can we make it work? You get together and like, all right, fuck this. We got this. What can we do? And it's this is an analogy I use all the time. The movie Apollo 13, right? Yeah. So something just, you know, broke up in the capsule, and Tom Hanks is talking to who was it? Ed Harris was the main engineer, right? And he's like, all right, it blew up, it's not working or whatever. So basically they were gonna die because like there's no air. The air didn't circulate no more, right? So, you know, he hung up or whatever they did, and so Ed Harris is looking, they're all looking at Ed Harris like, there's nothing we can do, we can't fly up there, they're fucking dead. So he just he goes, all right. He thinks for a minute, he goes, I want you to give me a duplicate of everything that's in that capsule and put it on this table in half an hour. So half hour later, the table's full of all these, you know, dials and tapes and tubes and whatever the fuck it was. And he goes, all right, take this and figure out how to make them breathe with that. And that's what filmmaking is. Yeah. If people go, look, I don't got lights, I got a shop light, or I got a fucking flashlight, and I got a fucking iPhone and this and that. Okay, we're gonna make a sketch, we wanna make this, how are we gonna do it? And you're like, all right, that's what you can't cry about what you don't have.
Absolutely,
you gotta figure out how to do it.
Ingenuity is king with stuff like this. Like, you know, you have to make do with what you got. You know, and like, that's kind of like how life is. That's how comedy is as well. Sometimes you perform for 20,000 people. Sometimes you perform in a coffee shop for 4 people that are not even looking at you.
They're that exact same thing in the same week.
Yes. Bro, one day you're getting praised by all your peers and all your loved ones, and then the next day people are like, you should quit comedy. Like, you're not good. And you're just like, bro, what that does to your psyche, it's not for the weak.
Well, sometimes you're telling yourself that. You don't even have to wait. Like, you're like, oh, fuck, I can't do this no more. It's horrible. Yeah. There's so many times, because I used to be a boxer, right? Yeah. So I use the boxing analogy a lot. And there's so many times I've been in that ring where I'm going, please throw in the towel. Please throw in the towel. Not the ring, the stage. So I'm dying up here, and I'm like, fuck, I got half hour to go. This is horrible.
Yeah, no, regular people don't know the fucking terrible, horrendous feeling of bombing. Right. Like, that'll depress you for like weeks.
Yeah. It's basically banging a hot chick and you can't get it up. That's what bombing is.
Yeah. Banging the hot chick, please go out, and you're like, book me.
Right. And then you get it. Right, you got her drunk or whatever it was. She's finally in your bed, and you can't get it up.
And then you can't. It's the same thing. You can't get it up in front of a hot chick, and then also there's 30 people in the bedroom there watching you not be able to get it up, and you're just like, I'm usually really good at this. Like, I have a video. Like,
trust me, it's not me. It's you guys.
Yeah. Maybe you guys are just too drunk. Maybe I'm too drunk. You know?
No, but it's all good, man. It's you know, it's fun. I love stand-up. Stand-up's unlike filmmaking or whatever else, where, you know, people see it later and it was great, and you're like, okay, individually you got to go, that was great, that was great. With comedy, you get it right there, you get off, you can celebrate, have a drink, take it easy.
If you try a new joke, you know whether it's good or not as soon as you do it.
Okay, so you're not drinking anymore.
I might drink eventually, but right now.
Okay, well, no, that's good, because I do that every once in a while, especially like when I want to lose weight. Like, I'll stop drinking. One time I stopped drinking for 6 months. Oh, wow. I lost like 30 pounds. Wow. And I didn't really diet or anything. It was mostly not drinking.
Yeah, because when you drink and you get drunk, you eat shitty. Like
Yeah.
you're just like, I'll Uber Eats a
Oh, yeah.
burrito and a quesadilla
Yeah,
and 2 tacos for
Yeah,
later.
you eat all that shit they sell on those little
Yeah,
in the shopping cart turn.
yeah, the
grill.
delicious hot dogs that they sell
wrapped
on-
in all kinds of
Yeah,
shit.
at a Target shopping cart,
Yeah.
just like that.
And it falls on the ground. You're like, it's all right.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
spice it
that's
up.
more flavor, more flavor. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's kind of what I realized too. And I would just drink and eat like shit and drink sodas after that. And then the next day I would be so lethargic and I would lose. My biggest thing was I would lose momentum. I would lose motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know that like awesome feeling of when you get momentum in a project that you're doing or in like a goal. Like that's just like, oh my gosh, like I worked my ass off for these 4 days and I'm already seeing progress. I want to keep doing it. I want to do 4 more days or 8 more days.
Yeah.
But when you get drunk, the next day you don't want to do shit.
Exactly.
You feel like shit.
You lose your ambition.
Exactly.
You lose all of that.
Exactly. All that, and then you're crankier and you're not as pleasant to be around. I was just like, it's just like that's not like being drunk is cool. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. There's times to be drunk.
Yeah. If you're celebrating something,
Right.
or you're with loved ones, or you it's just
Find out your girlfriend's pregnant.
Yeah, you just
Something like that.
100%.
Time to get drunk.
100%.
That was not a celebration though.
Do you have kids?
Yeah, but they're men already.
Oh, they're grown.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh wow. Did you get drunk when you found out you had a kid? Well, how old were you when you
No,
first?
it was different because my kids, I adopted them when they were young.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
How old were they?
They were little. The backstory is I was with their mom, right, and they were little when I first met her and I met them. I think one was like 3 and the other one was 5.
Okay.
And then I was the only dad they knew. We were together for a few years, and then after we broke up, I'm thinking I can't leave these kids because it's like my dad left when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and I hated that.
Yeah.
So I asked her, I go, is it okay if I adopt them? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then that's it. They became my kids, and they are my kids. I don't see any difference.
I've never
to me.
heard anything like that.
Yeah.
I've never heard
There's no
anything
difference to
like
me.
that.
And it's funny because they both have character traits of me. Like for
Because you
different
raised
ways.
them, basically.
Yeah. So like Joshua, the older one, he's very funny, very funny. I remember one time I was dating a hairdresser, right? And he's like, "All right, Dad, who you dating?" And I go, "Oh, I'm dating my hairdresser." And he goes, "Oh, what's his name?" Like I'm like really fast,
Hey.
like he didn't even think about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dad, that's my son." That's all
Yeah.
And he's like that. And then Johnny, the younger son, he's more into construction and doing all this, but he's very analytical and he's very like. So it's weird. They're very opposite each other, but they both have. He's more like a loner and independent, and that's more like me as well.
Yeah.
I'm not as sociable, believe it or not, and it's like. So they both have aspects of me, but I love them. They're in my. Now I'm a grandfather. Which,
Well,
cut that part. Out.
Did you have a relationship with the mother?
Yeah. We were married actually.
Oh, okay.
My mom and I were married.
Well, I mean, when you guys split up, did you still have like a
friendly
friend
thing,
relationship?
Nothing, yeah, like I haven't spoken to her in years, but not because there's anything.
Yeah,
bad.
but not
It's
on
just-
some like.
Yeah, we just have different lives.
Yeah.
My second wife.
Second wife.
I feel like
You're a
I
dog, Joey.
I feel like I'm doing one of them court. What do they call it?
Testimonials.
No.
Therapy.
No. When you're in court, before you go to court.
Oh yeah.
Deposition.
Yeah.
Deposition. I know. Actually, no, I did one. No, but my second wife, her and I still talk. We're great. She's fun, hilarious. My third one.
Third one, Joey. Jesus
That's
Christ.
only 3.
Oh, you only have 3. Okay,
Yeah.
for sure.
My eighth one. No, my third one. My third one. Every once in a while, she'll text me to say hi.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't see it, but she knows she's crazy. And then that's it, just 3.
For sure.
But I've been engaged a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like I think I literally I bought more rings than I bought more rings than there are Lord of the Ring movies. Like that's how many rings I bought.
Well, how many times you been engaged?
I don't know.
Holy shit!
A lot.
Really?
Yeah. When I fall, dude, I fall hard for chicks, man.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah.
I actually respect that. Wait, do your sons know that story? That like that you're not their biological father, and you love them so much that you want.
Yeah, but it's not even mentioned.
It's
like,
not.
We don't even talk about that. Like it never comes up at all.
For sure.
And it's just like because I don't see it that way. I don't see
Yeah,
them
and I'm
as
sure they don't
adopted
either.
children.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't.
But I have to explain it because it's like there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to explain. I explain it every once in a while. But like somebody asked me, like, you know, could you ask me about them being born and how, that whatever? I'm like, well, I have to. I'm not gonna lie and make a story up. But yeah, that's it. It's cool. But they're great kids. I love them to death. My Josh, the older son, he's a great artist. He made me. I don't know if you saw my Instagram. He made me these shoes, Rocky. Rocky's my favorite movie, and he painted like scenes of Rocky on the white Converse, dude. They're dope. They're dope. Like I don't. He said you could wear them because he sprayed it with. I'm like I don't want to wear it. I don't want to screw it up.
Put them in like a glass box.
I almost wore it today though. I haven't worn it yet, but I'm like
What's up? Yeah, cool. Well, do you want to transition to the
whatever you want? This is your show. Whatever. You want.
How long has it been, guys?
It's been about 16
minutes.
Okay. Yeah, let's transition to the. To be honest with you, these past couple weeks I've been having a hard time forgiving myself for something that I did. I was a little mean to some of my good friends, unnecessarily. You know, I can blame it on the alcohol, I can blame it on things that I'm going through, but yeah, I was roasting them just a little too hard sometimes, you know, and moments and their feelings were hurt. Like, have you ever like gone through something like that where like you know, something that like you might have like not have done in other situations, and you're like, oh, why was I like that in this situation?
No, I've never been an asshole like you. No, I'm no.
All right, actually, we can wrap it up. Wrap it up.
No, actually, yeah, of course. Yeah. I think we all have. I've said things, I've done things that I regret. Some things worse than others, and when you're angry, when you're drunk, when you're troubled, you don't think the same. You don't operate the same way, right? It's like a car or some mechanical thing. If something's a little wrong, it can affect everything, right? Yeah. So we all make mistakes, man. The important thing is to realize it and try to fix it if you can. Yeah. Say sorry when you need to say sorry. There's plenty of times I'll call up customer service for something. Something's happening and I'm in a pissed off mood and I know they're gonna know it and I'm fucking angry. And I tell them in the beginning, I go, look, just want you to know, I'm gonna sound very frustrated and very upset, but it's not you. Yeah. I know you're just working, you're just doing your job, but I'm so angry at your company about it. And I at least tried to, do that. But there's times where I've most of the time I just say sorry afterwards. Yeah. But like a few months ago, this is horrible too. I was in a real bad, depressed, angry state. I go to Starbucks. And I'm trying to throw something. This dude keeps walking in front of me, pissing me off, man. I'm like, fucking let me go through, right? Yeah. So I'm like so fucking angry. Finally, I throw it, and I'm walking out, and he walks out too, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and we just like two dogs, right? And he's like, what? I'm like, I go, what? And then we fucking kept him, cutting me off and doing this, and we just started yelling, and I'm like, I'm looking at him. He was bigger than me, but I know I could kick his ass. I used to be a professional boxer, and I'm like, oh, fuck you, like, so we're barking at each other, like, we're really fucking, and I'm like, dude, I want to punch this dude, but I know if I punch, I'm gonna go to jail. I'm like, I'm not gonna go to fucking jail over something stupid.
At Starbucks,
right? Like, the back of my brain, I know it's stupid, but I'm so angry, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill this dude, and then he's probably thinking, so we're going back and forth. I thought about it. I was so upset that I behaved that way that for like a week, I kept on going to Starbucks around that same time to find them. To say, dude, I'm sorry. Wow. I fucked up. It was not you. You didn't do anything wrong. It was only me. I was a fucking crazy fuck, and I'm sorry. So I went for a whole week around the same time, and I would wait a few minutes. I didn't find him, so I didn't do it. Now I don't even know what he looks like anymore. I forgot. But it was important for me to say sorry because I fucked up. Yeah, absolutely. I was wrong. You got to be a better man.
You have to be self-aware as well. Yeah. You have to be self-aware of like, oh, I was a dick. Yeah. Because you try to justify it, and you're like, you did do that, and it's like, no, like, you have to be self-aware about what you did, what your actions like caused, and
the only way you're going to be a better person is to do that. The only way you're ever going to be a better person, that's for anybody, is to know when you're fucked up. Admit you're going to fuck up. Everybody fucks up. Admit it, you're wrong. I can't forgive someone who keeps defending bad shit. So like, if you fuck up, if you do something wrong, and I go, hey, bro, this bothered me, man. And if you're like, well, yeah, it's, you know, it was because you had a bad, I'm like, now I'm angry about you defending it instead of being angry. Now, if you were to just go, dude, I fucked up. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or if somebody comes up to me and goes, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm like, all right, it's done. I'm over with.
Yeah.
We don't, no more.
I appreciate you acknowowledging it and apologizing.
Boom,
we're done.
Forward.
We're done.
Because again, I see everything as that moving train, man.
Yeah. Or say like, you know, I accept the apology, but I'm gonna need a little time. Right. You know, like give me a couple weeks and then I'll reach out to you or whatever, or something like that. You know, sometimes apologizing is difficult, but I always akin it to like working out. You know, when you're driving to the gym, you're like, I don't want to work out. And when you get to the gym, you're like, I don't want to work out. But when you're working out, you start like feeling better, and then after a workout, you feel amazing. You're like, wow,
and you want to do more.
That's how apologizing is.
Yes.
You're just like, oh, I don't want to apologize. Like your ego gets in the way, and then when you're about to do, when you're face to face with the person, you're like, this is tough. And then when you're doing it, you're like, yeah, and I'm sorry for this, and I'm sorry for that. I didn't mean to hurt you. And then once you apologize, you feel free. You're just like, I'm so glad I apologized. I'm so glad that I gave him them or she an opportunity to get past this.
Right.
So we can grow, so we can go our separate ways, which is fine as well, or we can grow the relationship even stronger. So that's how it is. It's like apologizing is like working out, basically.
And admit when you're wrong.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know, admit 100%. When you're wrong. And it's a lot of people don't like doing that, and I'm like, I can't fuck with people like that because I'm like, dude,
because a lot of people, like I told you, they're not self-aware. Like they don't. Even when you point it out, some of them are going, that's not wrong though. That's not wrong of me to do. And you're just like, how do you not realize that that's wrong? Like that's some fuck shit. Like you did some fucked up shit. But you know, but that's just how you say it. Like sometimes there are people that you give a chance and there's other people who, for your own betterment, you have to cut them off like a switch.
Right.
Well, just so people know, this motherfucker is a professional boxer.
Like 100 pounds ago. But
yeah, 70
I'm still tough. I'm still tough for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you can still fuck someone up at a Starbucks, bro. Yeah.
So it's funny. Like I think I'm 19 years old, 20 years old, something like that, right? I made at a store called the Merry-Go-Round, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was one of those stores that are in every mall, right? So I'm buying something. I don't know what the hell I'm buying. And there was a woman and her daughter were behind me, and I could hear them whispering to each other. And they're like, "Hey, that's JOEY Medina." And that's my boxing name. That's JOEY. And I'm like, I froze up. I'm like, fuck, I don't know what to do. Like, so I kept on just looking straight and just I tried to avoid them. Like, I was so, like, I don't know what, shy or, like, I was just so uncomfortable. Like, not in a bad way. Not didn't say anything bad. But I'm like, I don't know what to do because they recognize me. Now it's different. Now we just turn around and tell a joke and say something funny. But I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy. So I appreciate it now, but I was always very afraid of that. And like, I've always been very shy, even as a kid, especially as a kid. And even now as a grown-up, like sometimes I remember my girlfriend at the time, I would go to a friend's house and she was white, but all her friends were Latin, and they were big fans of mine. And it was funny, like I would be myself around them because they were new and I didn't know, so I would be more shy. And then I remember like they told her, they go, hey, I thought he was more upbeat and stuff. What happened? And she told me that. I'm like, really? I didn't realize I was that way. But I'm like, that's when I first realized, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to turn it on. You know, I gotta put on the switch, the JOEY Medina comedy switch.
Yeah.
But normally I'm not like that. Normally I'm just chill. Like when I'm directing on a set, I have to remember to be funny to keep everybody up and happy. Like because I'm working and I'm like there's no humor coming out, and I'm like, oh shit, try to be funny, Joey, say a joke or do something stupid or like. And I'm like, okay, you know, so to get everybody on the same
mood,
track.
Yeah.
But you know. Everyone's different, man, and I think it's also important for us as people not judge. We don't know if someone is acting a certain way because they're having a bad day. Like, I've never been rude to anybody except once, and that really wasn't rude. I had a crazy-ass girlfriend. We're in the horror nights of Universal Studios, and we get into an argument over something stupid, right? So I'm chasing her around, talking, and she's walking around, and I'm like, quick, I'm trying to talk to her. And these people, hey, Joey, can we get a picture? I'm like, dude, not right now, man. I can't. I'm sorry. Because she was right. I didn't know where she was going. I didn't want to lose her, right? And I'm like, oh, my God, these people must hate me. Like, to this day, this was probably like 2006. To this day, that still bothers me.
Really?
It still bothers me. I'm like, God damn, I wish I should have lost her. Fuck it. I should have just said hi. But I hope they could see that I was having an argument.
Yeah.
Like, I hope, like, I would never do that with anybody just because I'm like, that's rude. They're fucking arguing. They're not gonna say, oh hi, you know, all of a sudden, you fucking bitch, huh? You know, like that kind of thing.
It's like fine, we'll take this picture.
And
So yeah, but that still bothers me to this day, and I'm sure they've told 100 people already that guy's an asshole.
That's so crazy. Yeah,
Who'd
just
you
like
know?
one moment can just like.
Yeah, but it happens. I've known people in this industry, and I've seen them be rude to people, and I've seen them walking by someone they were just rude to, and that person go fuck him like that, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well,
Yeah.
everybody
Wow.
has bad days.
Yeah. Well, you said you're born and raised in the Bronx.
Yeah, I was born and raised in New York City, in the Bronx. I'm Puerto Rican, and
Well, do you know how to speak Spanish?
yeah, not great,
Really?
but I could have a conversation in Spanish.
That's, you know, I realize the East Coast doesn't have like a variety, like a diverse cast of Latinos over there. You guys,
They
it's
do,
just
but
like-
it's so big that it's diluted. Because so like you have an area with some Mexicans, an area of Dominicans, an area with some Cubans and all that. But the way New Yorkers see his Latinos are all the same. Like so they won't even say, oh, the Mexican, they'll say, oh, the Spanish guy. They'll use the word
that's what I
Spanish
realized. I like that
as a
actually,
yes thing. Yeah, so I've always felt the same way. Like
Yeah.
I felt we're all the same, we're just from different
Yeah.
places, like
Yeah,
just
just like-
different departments. Like we all work at the same building, but we work at different
Exactly,
departments. That's the way I've always mentally
Yeah.
seen it. You know what I mean? So and because I moved to the West Coast in Tucson first, and then LA when I was 19 years old. I've lived away from New York more than I've been living there, right? Than I've lived there. Yeah, so it's so to me it's like I'm a Mexican or something. Like I've got all this, but like to me it doesn't matter. Like I'm proud of being Puerto Rican. I think everyone should be proud of being an American, being a Mexican, being a Chinese, being this, being that. But the beauty of life is that there are differences.
Yeah.
I love eating people's, like when I travel out of the country, I don't fucking go to McDonald's. I don't go to Wendy's. Like
Yeah.
other people, like I don't get that. I don't know how people do that. I want to eat their shit.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's shit, at least I ate it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like the only time I'll ever go to McDonald's in another country is if they have something we don't have. Like in Germany, McDonald's has beer. So I wanted to buy a beer for a
McDonald's
long
beer,
time
yeah.
in McDonald's. That's all I want to do. And then in Japan they have like sushi, and I'm like, oh, I want to have McDonald's sushi. Fuck yeah, that's to me that's still Japanese or whatever. So it's that kind of thing. Racism is fucking stupid, and the only way I think you can make racism less stupid or less problem is just make fun of it, accept it. I did a movie called Zombie Strippers with Jenna Jameson, the porn star, and Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, which was amazing because he knew who I was, which totally made my fucking life.
That's crazy,
like,
bro.
Because I thought he was just being nice to me.
Yeah.
But then he's quoting some of my jokes. I'm like, this motherfucker really
Wow.
knows me. I'm
Freddy
like Freddy
Krueger
Krueger.
himself, bro.
And then
Yeah.
I'm doing a movie. I'm doing scenes with Freddy Krueger. I'm like, this is. I'm like, oh my god, I died when it happened. Right?
Surreal, yeah.
So, but oh shit, what's the thing? What was I saying?
The project that you're working on that's like you're making fun of like racism.
Oh yeah. So when I got the part, the director, my part was kind of lean, and I'm like one of the stars in the movie, not just a small part. And he said he wrote it that way because I'm a comedian. He would like me to put some humor in it. But so I read the script. The next day I met with him again, and he said, "What did you think of the script?" And he goes, and I told him, and he said, "What do you think of your character?" And he goes, "Do you think it's racist? Your character is like racist the way I wrote it?" And I go, "Yes." And he's like, and he goes, "How do I fix that?" I go, "Make it more racist." He's like, "What?" I go, "Make it a buffoonery," because I go, the whole movie's that way. I go, you can't change unless you want to change the whole movie, right? I go, it's easier to change one character than the whole movie. So I go, look, it's so out. I go, you have to make it so out there that people go, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you do it just a little bit, that's fucking racist, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so my character is named Paco, and so I'm a janitor in this strip club that is being infested by zombies, and I'm doing all this shit. I'm like, dude, you got to go over the top. So like, there was one scene, spoiler alert, my last scene where I get killed, where I say goodbye to my family, right? So I'm looking at a picture of my wife and 2 daughters, and the big punchline was, goodbye, Maria, y Maria, right? So, which was funny, but I'm like, I go, I'm reading that going, you need, bang, something else right after that. So I go like this, you know what'd be really funny? I told the director, I go, if right after I say that, you cut to a wide shot of me, a wider shot of me, I turn and I say goodbye to my donkey, a real fucking donkey right next to me. Yeah. And he laughed, so I told the producer that, and they laughed, and so then, I didn't know if they were gonna do it or not. All of a sudden, we're shooting that scene, so I go on set, and I see a trailer like a horse trailer. I'm like, oh, they got the donkey.
Yeah.
So there was a donkey in the thing.
Wow.
And then the director was like, the producer goes, we just paid $500 for that donkey, man. For the day. This better be a funny bit. And I'm like, it is. Trust me. And that's online. That's one of the scenes everybody talks about. Because all of a sudden I turn and there's a donkey there. And
Wait, where can we find this movie?
Everywhere. It's let's see. You could. I think it's probably online. I mean, you could rent it. You could. It's Zombie Strippers.
Zombie Strippers.
I'll send you a link if you can't find it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, I think it's on my Vimeo page. If you go to my Vimeo page, I think Zombie Strippers is on there.
For sure.
Pretty
Zombie
So check
Strippers.
that out. Yeah. But
awesome.
it's a great movie, dude. It's fun and it's a low budget movie. But it was in theaters. It was on I still get residual checks. They're like $6, but I still get residual checks.
Yeah.
I got to hold Jenna Jameson's breast. That was nice. There's a lot of naked women all over the place. It's a great little movie. And but it is what it is. When you hear the name Zombie Strippers, that's what you get. It's not The Godfather. It's not it's not anything major. It's just a stupid, goofy, low budget film with a lot of hot chicks and a lot of blood. So
it's awesome. Cool. Yeah. So you got to work with Danny Trejo too.
Yeah. I got to work for a few movies actually.
Yeah. How was that?
Small little movies. Danny will be in he'll be in a quinceañera video.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, I heard that he likes being in student films.
Yeah, and and the thing is, personally, I mean, I don't know why. Trust me, because a lot of these low budget films, as you know, don't pay anything. I think Danny just likes working, man, and I think Danny appreciates that people appreciate him. Danny Trejo is a very, very nice man. He looks mean, but he's extremely a nice man. Wow. And I was in a movie with him called, let's change the title like 3 times, and I don't think it actually was ever finished. It was called The Devil Inside. It was with Be Real from Cypress Hill with Danny Trejo. Yeah. I was in another one called Bloody Sunday with Danny Trejo. And then I was, I think, in a couple other little things, maybe sketches or something, or TV shows, I'm not sure. But Danny Trejo's a great guy. I'm so happy when I see, he's doing so well.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's probably getting a shitload of money from those restaurants he opened up.
Yeah, good for him. He deserves it.
Burrito's really good, by the way. Try Danny Trejo tacos. It's super good.
I like them. I haven't tried the donuts, but I've tried the tacos.
A burrito's like $11, but it's fucking worth it. It's big. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I hung out with Be Real once when I was like 18.
Nice.
And it was like, it was backstage at there was a music festival in downtown actually called the Made in America Music Festival. And he was performing, and then I managed to sneak my way backstage, and everyone was just like smoking a shitload of weed. And at that time, I don't smoke weed. I have asthma. But I was just like, my asthma started acting up, and I was just like, I cannot pull my inhaler out in front of Cypress Hill, bro. That will be the fucking death of me, bro. So I was just like,
I'm tired, man.
And they're like, how'd you like the show? I'm like, it's really good. It's really good. And then whenever no one was looking, I was just like, and then I was just like, oh my God, this is gonna be really bad for my lungs, but this is fucking Cypress Hill, bro.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, I know. When I was working too, I was amazed too. And he's another great guy, man.
Super good. Both of them are really, really
I've met very few assholes in this business. I know a lot of people say there's a lot of assholes, and I haven't. I know a lot of people in this business industry, actors, comedians, whatever, who I may not agree with necessarily, who I may be disappointed in on some things. Yeah. But for the most part, I think everyone I've met are pretty much decent people, you know what I mean, who just want to do a good job and make people laugh or entertain people. Yeah, saying Robert Englund, when I met him, he was the nicest guy, talks a lot. He has more stories than anybody. He has more stories than Lifetime, man. He just talks and talks. Great guy, though. Great human being. Yeah. Everybody else has their own thing. Jenna Jameson, when we were doing that movie, she was a little off on her own. Yeah. She didn't really mingle with everybody, but she was never mean. She was nice. That was her thing. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing you got to be like. When you're in this business, man, just take care about you. And just in life, man, just take care of you. Take care of you and the people you need to take care of, right? And that's it.
Things will come.
Yeah.
Things will come. Yeah.
And don't hate just for somebody's being successful or not successful.
That's a virus that's going, especially it plagues the comedy community where when someone blows up or starts, you know, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, their peers, which is horrible, but their peers are just like, because that doesn't happen in other industries. Like you don't see like a doctor like being like, oh yeah, I'm working at one of the number one hospital in California.
Right.
You don't see other doctors like, man, fuck that shit.
Right.
Like,
yeah, you think you're too good?
Yeah, no, it's just like, you know, basketball players, you know, it's just like, yeah, that person does deserve to be in the NBA. But with comedians, it's just like when someone blows up, it's just like but it all boils down from like the insecurity of like, it's just like, why him?
But it's all jealousy. And look,
Jealousy, yeah.
Insecurity and jealousy are real emotions, and I get that. But this is how I learned not to do that. Was one time there was a person, a comedian, who got something I thought he didn't deserve, or she deserved. I can't remember if it was she or he. It was a long time ago. And then I thought to myself, I go, wait a second. I go, I wish one day I get something I don't deserve. And I'm like, you know what? Why am I hating? Like, what are they supposed to do, right? If somebody, I'll give you a perfect example, right? How long have you been doing comedy?
About 6 years.
Okay, 6 years. Let's say somebody came up to you and said, listen, we're going to put you in these 3 movies where you're going to star in. We're going to give you an HBO special, a Netflix special, and we're going to do all of this for you right now. Are you supposed to say fucking no, I'm not ready? and what is people supposed to do? I can't believe he accepted that.
Yeah, it's like no, I don't want to be a star on HBO.
Do you ever call someone when they hit the lottery going, you don't deserve that money? No, right? Hey, you got it, you got it. Whether it's luck or whatever. Hey man, if it's on your way, milk it. I remember there was a comic friend of mine who won Last Comic Standing, and I remember saying, dude, trust me, get a lawyer. Make sure you don't spend your money. But like I was giving him advice. I was glad he was he won. I wasn't like, oh fuck him. I was like, couldn't believe he won, but I'm so happy he won. And I was like, this is awesome. And I was like, and all I did was wish that person success.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, like you say, it's like if you're working on a movie and doing Latin Kings of Comedy and all that stuff, and then one of your peers blows up, you're not gonna be like, what the fuck? And not him. No, you're gonna be like, wow, we're all succeeding. That's awesome. Yeah. But if you're not doing shit, you're blowing off all your gigs, you know that you're like in a rut, or you know that you're not giving it your all, and you see someone succeed, I feel like that's where that insecurity and jealousy comes from. Yeah, and
it comes from, look, even if it's natural, it comes from a bad place, right? Yeah. So you have to like bring it down.
Yeah, even if it's like visceral, it's still a bad reaction.
Yeah. There's, and I didn't make this saying up, but I read the saying somewhere, and I love it. It's one of my favorite quotes, even though I don't know who, I think it's anonymous. It said, basically what it is, when you're doing well, you know, when you're successful, instead of building a taller wall, build a longer table.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I totally get it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see it. I go, how would I feel if let's say we all hung out every day. We were boys, this was the fucking crew, right? Yeah. We're always together. And all of a sudden, hey man, I'm fucking doing great. I just bought me a Lamborghini, and you guys are still driving shit and doing this. What kind of person would I be? Like, I have to be, I'm going to buy you a nice brand new car. It may not be a Lamborghini, but you're going to have a nice car. Yeah. You're going to have a nice car. We're going to be in cool places. We're going to have rooms at my house where you guys could crash in. Yeah. Like, that's the way you do it. Absolutely. To me, I think when you win, your crew wins and your family wins. As long as they're a decent family, the people that are crazy family members. But like my sister, I have 2 sisters and I love them to death. I have 4 sisters actually. I have 2 sisters from my mom, 2 sisters and 2 brothers from my dad. And like my sister Kathy, who's second oldest to me, who I adore. She's like my best friend growing up, and I love her. There's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for her. If I hit the lottery, she hit the lottery. Yeah. You know what I mean? If all of a sudden I bought a mansion and I'm like, hey, move in. Like that's the way it is.
She has a mansion. Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I remember when I was able to buy, when I bought my mom a house, I just got this big contract and I made a lot of money, and I bought a house. And then I remember going, well, I'm just going to pay my mom's rent. And then I go, wait a second, how could I live in a house and my mom live in an apartment? I'm like, I couldn't swallow that. I'm like, I can't do that. And I go, wait a second. I go, I got this idea. So I called my sister Kathy up. I go, Kathy, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look for a house for you and mom. But find a house. You move in with mom, nice house, 3-bedroom, whatever, and I'll pay for it. And she did. They got a house, and I bought the house, and my mom, I need a bed now. I need this. I'm like, all right. But I had the money, right? I don't have it, but I had it then. And I'm like, yeah, like, to me, like, I don't care. It's like, I care more about the emotion of it than anything.
Yeah.
And then when things got bad and the recession hit, it hit me hard. I lost a contract I had. It was just, things were really bad. I had 2 mortgages I'm paying, and I had an apartment I'm paying, 3. And I'm like, shit, what do? I go, well, I don't care about me. I'll live in my car. I've done it before. Yeah. And I go, I'm just gonna keep paying my mom's house. I'm gonna let go of my house and just keep my apartment. And that's what I did. But like, I'm like, I just want my mom to be taken care of. I didn't care about it. Like, it's just housing. Fuck, I will always have a roof over my head. Yeah. I have friends, I have family. I will always have a roof over my head. I'm not scared of that whatsoever. You know what I mean? If I got a, bang an ugly chick to live with her.
Yeah.
No, I would never do that. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't. Well, not an ugly chick. I just could never be with someone that I don't want to be with.
Oh yeah, just.
Oh my God, I don't know how people do that.
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
how people.
I have a couple friends that are like that right now, where they're with someone just because the other person's name is on the lease. You know what I'm saying? And it's just.
Man, it's sad. It's sad for both of them because none of them are probably happy.
It's unfortunate. It's probably sad for the landlord too. Yeah, it's sad for everyone, to be honest with you. So. Thanks again for being on the show. Actually,
my pleasure,
this
brother.
is I can't I can't believe that this is my studio. I can't believe that you're fucking sitting here talking to me.
Oh, that was cool, dude.
Like I used to watch you on TV when I was like young.
Thanks.
And when I found out, you're like, no, dude. And when I found out that you had an Instagram, I immediately followed you. And then when I hit you up and you responded back immediately so kindly, I was like, bro, this is so surreal. Like, this is.
Well, that's me always. Trust me, because I feel bad. Like, I've hit people up, and sometimes they get back to me, sometimes they don't. And I'm like, oh, that sucks when they don't. Like, so and then my thing is this: is like, it doesn't matter what level, like, I think a person is in. If and I call myself quasi-famous. Like some places, some circles, I'm really well known. Other circles, nobody knows me. But that's comedy, right? Yeah. It's like a musician, whatever. And like, I don't mind any of that. Like, I love it. Like, or not love it, I appreciate it. But when someone does admire something you do, or admires you for whatever reason, it's like, it's not just a compliment. You have to respond. Like, you have to. It's like saying thank you. You know what I'm saying? And it's So anyway, so I'm always that way with people. But then every once in a while I meet some weird people. I got people who hit me up for money. I got people that hit me up for this. I got somebody hit me up one time for a bicycle for their daughter. And I got this huge fucking heart, man. But I'm real smart too, so I fucking back up to see if this is bullshit. I look up, and if it's not, then I try to help. But then, that was when everybody was working. Now that nobody's working,
it's just like I need a bike. Like,
dude, I know. I'm like, fuck, hey, dude, you still got that bike? Yeah. But it's but it is what it is, man. And life is good, dude. I've had, like I said, if God forbid if I died today, which I hope I don't, I've had a fucking amazing life, right? I've been very blessed. I've traveled around the world. I've bought my mom a house.
Wow.
I've lived. I've done things.
Yeah.
I've never been a person who's been materialistic because I've never really had anything, growing up. So I just appreciate moments. I appreciate traveling. I appreciate, I like material things. I like having a nice watch. I like having a nice car. I like having this. I like having that. But I know they're just material things. I know they just go away, I used to drive before the pandemic and all this. I had a Jaguar, I had a Mercedes, now I got a Prius. And I love my Prius. I love it's a better car than the fucking Jaguar was a piece of shit. And so I don't care, but it's like just material things. I was doing a show one time in Florida, and I was wearing the shirt that I wore on my Showtime special. And the guy goes, dude, I love that shirt. And I'm like, do you like it? So we went to the bathroom, and it was a wireless mic, so we did the whole thing. People could hear, and we just switched shirts. And I gave him my shirt. I'm like, yeah, you could have it. Like, I don't care, dude. Like, it's just stupid shirt, man. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Thank God his shirt fit me. Otherwise, I would have been walking around with my tetas out,
Yeah, extra medium shirt. Yeah.
Extra medium.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I love newer comics. I love, like, when I was a kid, not a kid, when I first started doing stand-up, I wasn't a kid. I was a grown man already. But when I first started doing stand-up, there were a lot of comics, all the open micers hanging out that were, the seasoned open micers. who were doing 7 minutes instead of 3 minutes, and they wouldn't give me the time of day. Some of them they would laugh at my laugh at me, not laugh with me, and I was always very hurt. Like it was always, and I always told myself I'll never do that. And there was two guys that always were my friends, a guy named Kelly Parks and another guy named Jason Rohrabacher. Okay. And it's funny because now Kelly Parks and I, even though he's still my friend, he's a Trump supporter and he's a Republican. So during the last 4 years, him and I were just going at it. People like, why don't you just delete him? Why don't you block him? Like, he's my friend.
It's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
But
that happened to me a few times where it's just like people that I cared about turned out to be Trump supporters, and it's just like, it's not as easy on paper. It's like, just cut them out of your life. They're racist. Yeah. It's not as easy. It's like, I always tell people with like Kanye West. I'm like the biggest Kanye West fan, but when he started doing all that like weird Trump stuff, and people were just like deleting him off their like playlists and stuff like that, I was like, I can't. It's like I feel like he's been like my uncle kind of, like uncle that was like so good to me growing up and helped me with so much.
But you don't like him.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden now they're on Facebook saying racist shit, and it's just like, oh, bro, like you realize it's racist and you realize it's some fucked up shit, but you're like, I still love, like he's done, like his music has helped me so much.
That's good though, because I think life is that way. Life, you have to, what's it called, decompartment.
Yeah.
You guys know it. Look it up. So you have to do that. You can't not like somebody just for one thing, and you cannot love someone just for one thing. You know what I mean? It's like a little bit back to politics. People go, I understand like there's this whole abortion debate, right? Pro-life, pro-choice. Yeah. And some people, but you can't love everything about someone just because they're pro-choice or just because they're pro-life. You can't, because some of like Trump was the only reason, first of all, he paid for 8 abortions in his life, right? That we know of. But just because he's technically pro-life, because that's what Republicans are supposed to say, you can't just say, okay, all his other shit is fine, right? That's weird. Like he's okay with that, but not with that. Like I love guns, right? I'm a Second Amendment guy, but I'm not a crazy Second Amendment guy. I'm not like, they're gonna take my guns. No, they're not. They never have. So
you're not gonna put an AK-47 decal on the back of your truck.
Yeah, like and I'm not, right? Yeah. And I'm not gonna take an AK-47 to fucking Starbucks. Those are people who want to take their gun out so bad.
Yeah, they want the attention.
And they just like, because they look, people go, well, the AK, you need an AK or you need an AR because it protects. I'm like, no, it's not. Look, this is the truth for everybody watching. The reason people like ARs who like guns is because they look fucking cool. That's it. That's it. Not because we're afraid we're going to be attacked like in Red Dawn by the Russians and the Cubans. None of that shit. It looks cool. That's the reason we like it. And if I had to give mine back to save a child, I'll fucking do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Like I said, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll fight with slingshots. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But but if there's ever zombies, I'm fucking prepared. That's all I know.
Dude, that's what's up. That's awesome, dude. That's crazy. So I've always been like a huge fan of like really opening myself up and being vulnerable in my art, especially comedy. Like I'm a very private person in real life, like in regular life. But when it comes to comedy, like if I went through something traumatic or something terrible, that night I would go make a joke about it on stage.
And that's great. That's what it's supposed to be. There's an old cliche about comedians that we do comedy because we can't afford therapy. Right? And it kind of is true, because a comedian can get up on stage and it's like therapy. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is when you talk about things that are hard and you put humor with it, it actually helps heal you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It helps you accept it a little more.
The fear, it just disintegrates. The fear and all that.
And don't forget, there are people watching that that show that probably have the same problem.
Exactly.
My grandmother, because she's not my real grandmother. She was actually my girlfriend's grandmother, but we lived together for like 5 years, and she's not my grandmother. She passed away in '95, but she was a World War II vet. I did a video with her called Grambo, where it's like she's Rambo, but an old lady Rambo. Like it's like I just love her I fell in love with her, right? Yeah. Like she's like my own blood. So the day she died, my girlfriend called me up. I wasn't living with them at the time, and I went there and talked to her, her body and everything. And she was a World War II vet, so when they picked her body up, I made sure they told them, and they put her flag over her. That was real nice. Yeah. But I had to do a show that night, man. I had to do a show at a comedy club that night. And it was the hardest thing I ever done. The hardest show out of a gazillion shows I've done, the hardest show I ever did. And because I wasn't myself. It was like a robot saying my words. Like it was just, I'm just telling, and there was nothing behind it. And about 5 minutes in, I told them, I said, listen, some of you guys probably think I'm looking weird right now and something's wrong. I'll explain later. So at the end of my set, I had a decent set, but I was a robot the whole time. I explained what happened. And then I started crying because it was like I was holding it in the whole fucking time. And I played that video of Grambo. And on the screen. Yeah, at the show at the end. And the funny thing is, talk about how life works, right? The only other actor in that, no, there was a couple other people, but one of the guys who acted in the thing, who played, he's a Filipino guy, but he's a comic, and he played the Asian, 3 different Asians in the video, and she killed him 3 times, but he was different ones. But he was the opener, you know, Chris Rubio, and great comic. Trump supporter though, I just found out. I'm a little upset, but I still like Chris. But he was there, which was weird, a weird thing. Like I've never, like the last time I saw him was probably at that shoot, which was a few years before.
That's almost kismet.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this meant it. So I brought Chris on stage and we explained, we had a little just back and forth. We talked about it. She was a great woman, man. Grandma was amazing. I want to cry when matter of fact, I did a movie in Mexico called The Father's Journey, where I play a character, and there's one of the scenes I'm in, me and the guy who's playing my brother, there's a doctor telling us about our mom dying. And I've always been envious of actors that could cry. I'm like, how the fuck you do that? I can't fucking, I try everything. I pull hair out of my nose, I hit my toe, fucking hit my balls, and nothing. I can't cry, right? So when I was doing the scene, I wasn't supposed to cry in the scene. Actually, the other actor was. And I started thinking of my grandmother. And I just bawling. I was bawling so much that the actor who was playing the doctor held my hand, and that wasn't part of it or nothing. He just held my, because I know he felt it. And in the back of my brain, as a director, I'm going, man, this is great. This is awesome. Keep going. And then the funny thing was in Mexico, so the lights kept on going out. Like the power kept on going out. So I'm like, please, I hope the power doesn't go out, because I don't know if I could keep crying. And so anyway, we did the scene and we did it. And it was funny. And then the actor that was playing, who should have cried, he couldn't cry, right? And then the director who did this was his first time directing. And I could work with actors real well because I'm an actor, I'm a comedian, so I know how to direct actors, right? So the guy couldn't cry, and I asked the actor, I go, what are you thinking about? How are you trying to cry? And he was like, well, I'm thinking about my dad, how I disappointed him, and I hope I didn't disappoint, that kind of story. So I said, okay, look, we already got the doctor's coverage. We already got him. Doctor doesn't need to do his lines anymore. So I said, when the camera's on, I forgot his name, I think it was Caesar, the actor. I told the doctor character, just talk to him about his dad. Talk to him about his dad. We don't need his dialogue. Just talk to him about his dad. So he started talking to him about his dad. Your dad, your dad's really proud of you. And the guy started crying. I'm like, see, there you go. That's how you do it. Like, and it's all, I don't know, I'm talking about a whole bunch of topics. Right now
No, it's fun. It's fun.
But yeah. So anyway, so that's cool. But
yeah, I think it's so important. Dude, it's totally fine. I think it's very important to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of comedians who are just funny to be funny, and that's great. But like the comedians who talk about like hardships and like their inner turmoil while making it funny as well, I feel like those are what resonates. They're the comedians that like really stick with you the most. Like that one quote where like people will forget what you say, what you do, but people won't forget how you made them feel.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like there was one time, I'll tell a little story too. There was a couple, like it was about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. I had a friend growing up. We grew up. He was like my big brother. He was like 3-4 years older than me. And when I went off to college, he kind of got into like some bad news and over here in LA, because we grew up in South Central and the bad parts of LA. And, I would always tell him, like, come live with me in college. I have my own place, bro. There's all white people here. Like, you don't have to worry about nothing over here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll give you a spot. I'll give you everything. He's like, yeah, eventually, soon. And then, halfway through my freshman year of college, He was murdered. He was murdered actually in a liquor store we used to go to all the time together. And it was something that like, it really fucked me up. I didn't want to go to college anymore. I wanted to come back to LA because I had started doing stand-up a couple months before that. And I stopped because of college. And I was just like, I want to keep doing stand-up. Like, I shouldn't even be, this was in Sacramento. I was like, I shouldn't even be in Sacramento. Why the fuck am I living in Sacramento right now?
Right.
I don't want to be here for another 4 years. So I ended up moving back. And it was something that I never told anyone. I never talked about it to anyone. And it really, I would really struggle. I would really struggle with like the anniversary of him passing. And I would just suffer by myself. I would come, you know, I would just be myself. I would cry by myself, and I would just like take it in by myself because his friends didn't really fuck with me either. Like, not in a bad way, they just didn't really know me that well. So I couldn't even share the grief with them. They would do their own thing. So, and you know, that kind of happened. And then a couple of years ago I was officially older than he was when he passed. Because he was always older than me my whole life. And then now I was older than him. And that really fucked me up. And I was just gonna do a show. And I asked the booker and I was just like, hey, I was like, listen, is it okay if I experiment on some stuff today? And he was like, by all means. He was so supportive. You know, shout out DC Edwards. Like, he was so supportive and he allowed me to do that. And I remember I asked the audience, I was like, can I just like tell you guys what's on my heart? And they thought I was joking. And then like you say, like the more I started talking, like the tears started flowing. At the time I was drinking as well. So like obviously the tears were flowing. But I managed to like make it funny. So I had never experienced anything like that. Like I would, every like 15, 20 seconds, I would get a huge laugh. And then I would just go back to just like the deep sorrow that I was going through. And then I would manage to make it funny. And I feel like it was the most powerful set I've ever done. And I was different after that.
You think it helped you heal?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I felt so free after that. I felt so like I was floating. I felt like that's what I was put on this earth to do, is to do what I just did for myself, but help other people do that as well. Do you get what I'm saying? So, you know, and like, I just like remember like just talking about him, and I told the story of how someone stole his pit bull and we went to go steal it back, but I never met the pit bull, and when I saw him, he had the fattest dick I ever seen. And when I carried him, his dick was on my arm, and it was like 10 pounds of just pit bull dick on my arm.
Let me guess, it was a woman that stole it.
And it was so cool. It was like really cool, just like sharing his life with all these people.
Right.
You know, paying homage to him.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. Because look, the reality is this. The reality is we're all going to die, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is, unless one of us here in this room, let's say, dies first, we're going to know about other people dying.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, fuck, so-and-so died? So that sucks. That's horrible. You know, Mike Mitchell, I don't know if you know him. He's a comedian. Passed away just a little while ago.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny thing is, Mike, I was talking to Mike a couple of months ago, because Mike auditioned for my short that I just finished. And Eric Blake got the part. But a lot of people were auditioning, like Alonzo Bowden, Craig Robinson was thinking about doing it and couldn't, because he's too successful, thank goodness for him. Yeah. No, but he was doing other stuff. But I hit up Mike, and Mike actually had a really good audition, and Mike was kind of up there. I'm like, man, I may have to give it to Mike. And I didn't for other reasons, but now I feel bad. I'm like, God, I wish I would have gave it to him, you know. And and it's so funny. And then before him, I think somebody else died. Like, that's the way we're doing. And every year I'm getting older, and I'm like, oh, this sucks, you know. I'm like, oh, I gotta take this medicine now. I gotta do this. That's why you just gotta, like, to me, life is like a moving train. And if something bad happens in life, it's okay to say, fuck, this sucks. It's okay to take a moment, but if you don't act quick, that train's gonna leave. Yeah. You gotta jump on the fucking train. It's like, okay, let's worry about it as we're fixing the problem, or let's worry about it as we're doing something. And if somebody passing away, it's just something you just accept. It sucks, it's sorry. But if you think about it, when someone dies, when we mourn, we don't mourn for them. We're mourning for us because we missed them. Yeah. We're not mourning for them. We should be mourning for them when they're sick, We should be mourning for them when they can't pay their bills. We should be mourning for people when they're laying in bed suffering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when we should mourn for them, right?
Yeah.
But when they're dead, they're good, man. And then some people believe, well, there's no heaven when you die, you're dead, and that's it. I'm like, okay, even that's good. If someone is suffering, right? If someone is old and sick or got cancer and they're dying, it's freaking horrible. But the moment they pass, even if there's nothing else after that, good, they're not suffering no more. Yeah. Be happy. And I believe in celebration of life, man. When you celebrate that person's life, drink for them, and keep them in that good mojo area,
yeah.
And that's the way I see it, because you can't let it destruct you. You can't let things bring you down. I've had so many ups and downs in my life, dude. It's ridiculous. Like, if people knew, like, it's ridiculous. I've failed more than I can think of. I've been broke. I've been homeless. I lived in a car. I've donated blood for money. I never blew anybody. But I did the blood, and so you just keep going, man. That's it's like a boxer, right? It's like one of my favorite quotes of all time is by Muhammad Ali, and the quote is, "The canvas is no place for a champion." And I fucking believe that, man. So you get knocked down, you get your ass back up, man.
Yeah.
Get your ass back up and keep finishing. Yeah. You're doing a production, if something fucks up, you figure out how to fucking fix it. Yeah. Don't bitch, don't complain, get mad tomorrow, but today something else has to be done.
Exactly.
And that's the way it is. And that's everything with any problem, with any fucking problem. You just take care of it.
Absolutely.
And if you can't, then fuck it.
Yeah, I want to talk about one of your, like, at least to me, it appears one of your, like, best days when you were fucking a part of the fucking Latin Kings of Comedy.
Yeah, that was a great
That's
day.
legendary. Fucking legendary. Paul Rodriguez, George Lopez.
Yeah, Cheech.
Cheech? Yeah. What the fuck, Cheech? How was that? Like,
it
how?
Was crazy. It was crazy.
How old were you when that happened?
I don't know, late 20s, 30, 31. I can't remember. But
yeah,
it was amazing. So the way that happened was this: the Kings of Comedy, the original Kings of Comedy, with Cedric the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, and everybody, as they're known as the Black Kings of Comedy, right? It was that one. They did it. It was very successful. Yeah. All those guys were great. They did well. So Paul had an idea. I want to do the Latin Kings of Comedy, But the thing is, the Kings of Comedy is owned by someone named Walter Latham. He owns the franchise. Paramount Pictures made the movie. So we had this big tour, and Carlos Mencia was actually in this tour.
Wow.
And then Carlos allegedly said some stuff bad about Paul on the radio, and Paul heard about it and goes, well, fuck it, he's not on now.
So Paul was kind of like the head guy?
Yeah, Paul was the head. Yeah. George didn't have any shows yet, nothing. Really? So George wasn't the guy, it was Paul.
He wasn't George motherfucking Lopez.
Right. He wasn't George Lopez then. Yeah. I mean, he was, but just for his audience, right?
Yeah.
So, and then at the time, Alex Raimundo and myself, we all had the same manager with Paul, so that we were lucky in that end.
Yeah.
We were touring, we're doing this thing. We're more of the opening acts than anything.
Yeah.
And then they decided to go to El Paso to shoot the show. It wasn't called Latin Kings Comedy yet. We might have been throwing the name around, but it wasn't officially Latin Kings Comedy. Yeah. But they were going to try to become the Latin Kings Comedy. Paramount Pictures they sent an executive over to watch it, to see if it's worth being one of Latin Kings of Comedy. So we shot 4 shows. Alex and I only did 2 of them, because there were other people that went on. There was other comics that went on. So we weren't positive I wasn't positive if I was going to make the cut. So at the end of the day, they chose. It was Paul, George, obviously. Cheech was the host, and they chose Alex and I to be part of it. And I knew it was going to change my life.
Really?
I knew it.
Right then and there.
This is it. It's going to change my life.
Yeah.
So one of the things was, instead of, I felt very nervous. I'm like, okay, I have to raise the bar. I've got to write better material. I got to be a better comic, because this is going to put this. everyone that I know who are comedians who are Latin are gonna go, why him? Why him? Why him? Now, I was always a good comic. I was a good comic. But now I'm going from being a good comic to one of the Latin kings of comedy, right? So
How do you get through that feeling of like knowing that, like knowing for sure you're gonna get not only haters, but like hate from your peers?
Yeah, well, it's because to me it was reality. It was just like, I felt like in the scene of Rocky, back my favorite movie ever, when Rocky met the promoter and Rocky's like, hey man, yeah, you know, I'm gonna be a good sparring partner. I'm not gonna take any cheap shots. And he goes, Rocky, you don't understand. I don't want you to be a sparring partner. I want you to fight for the title. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
And what Rocky did was he just wanted to rose to the occasion, right?
Yeah.
And even though it's a fictional character, many of us lived that in our life. At some point in our lives, we are a Rocky.
Absolutely.
Whether it's work, whether it's this, whether it's that. And that was my Rocky moment. And I knew, I have to go up on that stage and I have to kick ass.
You gotta fucking kill it.
I gotta kill it.
Yeah.
And I did pretty good. I did really well.
Bro, you fucking did more than pretty good, bro.
But then I had to go, all right, now, and then it played in movie theaters, dude. It was beautiful. It wasn't just on Showtime. It wasn't just on a DVD. It was movie theaters.
Yeah.
And I would actually go when it was playing in movie theaters in different cities that I was working in or doing a gig in, and I would go to the last taping or the last showing. Yeah. And it's funny because people were like, "Oh, that's you." I'm like, "Yeah." So anyway, but it was just fun, and I just raised to the occasion, and I just did it, and I just worked hard to make sure that I lived up to that.
Yeah. And then you were surrounded by other great comedians, and I feel like that just...
Oh yeah, of course. Again, you're raised to the occasion. I'm on stage with the best Latin comics in the world, and not just best Latin. They were some of the best comics in the world. Legends, right? Paul Rodriguez is a fucking legend. I remember watching him, watching George, watching Cheech, and I'm hanging out with these dudes all week long on this tour that this production. We had Cheech. We celebrated Cheech's birthday together. We did this where. Me and George Lopez were peeing in the same bathroom or the same toilet bowl at the same time, and we didn't look down. We don't know. But and I remember thinking, I'm peeing with George. This is awesome.
Damn,
so it's great, man. It's just a great thing.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Do you still keep in contact with all those comedians? Like?
More Paul than anybody. Paul and I just did a show about a month ago in Arizona. And then that's it. George does his own thing. Cheech does. I see Cheech when he's like, if I'm someplace and I see him. And I did a tour with him in Canada once, but.
But you guys are also like on friendly terms. Like if you guys see each other.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay,
absolutely.
Cool. That's awesome, dude. So we good, bro? Joey fucking Medina, bro.
Thanks,
what
brother.
Absolute pleasure it was having you in the studio today. This is so surreal for me. And you drop, your stories are fantastic. You dropped a couple of gems here and there. Where can people find you?
In my house. No, you can go catch you on Instagram, Facebook. It's Joey Medina Comic. So if you go to Joey Medina Comic, you'll find me, my Twitter and everything. I also have a Facebook page, fan page, Joey Medina fan page. Mm-hmm. And then please check out, if you want to see the videos that I've shot and stuff, go to my new website. Have JoeyMedina.com, but I got to redo that. But go to Bronx Boy Entertainment. That's my production website, and you'll see all the videos that I've done and produced, and you'll see the one I was talking about Grandma with Grambo on there, and some other stuff. So you'll dig that.
Yeah, awesome. Again, Joey, thank you so much, bro.
My pleasure, my brother. Oh fuck, it's too comfortable.
I know you had to come to each other, bro.
So here at the studio, like you mentioned it briefly, like give people flowers when they're still alive,
right.
And like. I'm not bullshitting you when I say that you were
like a big influence on me. Like, yes, I was influenced by a lot of people, but I fucking saw you on TV when I was young, and now I'm hanging out with you at my show, so I'm giving you these flowers, bro, because I think it's important to give people their flowers when I give you some sunflowers. You remind me of a sunflower,
my guy. I like that.
So here you go, broski.
And now I gotta blow
them. Yeah. Hey, cut the camera.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Thanks
again, Joey.
I really like that, man.
I know, of course.
Thank you.
All right.
You know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna give you something. Not right now, because I don't have it.
No, dude, don't.
But I'm an artist, and I do art. there's something I did that will be great in the studio.
Really?
Because the first thing I did, I'm like, because my girlfriend won't let me put it up because I made it. so I looked at it, I go, it'll look good in here, so I'm gonna give you something. So you gotta come pick it up or something.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Dude, that would be amazing.
My guy, dude. My guy. Have a good one, brother.
Nice day.